Welcome to our picks for the playoffs. First round, JC. I'm John Hodge, joined as always by JC Abbott. How pumped are you for the postseason?
I'm fired up. The games matter again, Hodge. There's significance on the line. Win or go home. This is the best time in all sports.
Agreed. Yes, this is the best time of the year in the Canadian Football League, and I'm excited for this postseason action. I really am. JC, we both went 3-1 straight up, 2-2 against the spread last week. But honestly, I want a recount because we made our selections with the assumption that Davis Alexander was going to start for the Alouettes, which he had told our guy, Pablo Herrera Vergara. He 100% expected to play. Jason Moss echoed those sentiments, and then they pulled a fast one on us an hour before the game started, saying that McLeod Bethel Thompson's going to start. I feel ripped off by that.
I do as well. Jason Moss, shame on you
Shame.
for making the best. Shame on you for making the best decision for your football team.
It was a good decision. I'm not questioning that.
Damn it.
I just wanted all the facts before we get into it. And that is part of the challenge when you're making your picks before the depth charts are out. But again, Davis Alexander was the number one on the depth chart. And then they made a last-second change, which is too bad. We do not yet have depth charts for these playoff games, but we do have the injury reports from Tuesday and Wednesday. We're recording this Thursday morning. So obviously stay tuned to 3 Down Nation for any updates, but we're going to get into it. East Semi first, followed by the West Semi.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will visit the Montreal Alouettes on Saturday afternoon for the East semifinal, where they'll look to become the first crossover team in CFL history to make it to the Grey Cup. The Alouettes are 6-point home favorites in this one, despite losing both regular season meetings to the Blue Bombers, though franchise quarterback Davis Alexander didn't see the field in either game for the Owls. Alexander went 7-0 as a starter this season in Montreal, though the team is dealing with some key recent injuries, as Mustafa Johnson, Noel Ugwak, and Tyrell Richards have all been non-participants in practice this week. Winnipeg, meanwhile, hasn't had Nick Dembski practicing due to an ankle injury he suffered against Edmonton in Week 19. Hodge, can the Alouettes win and cover this spread, or can the Blue Bombers get the upset in La Belle Province?
JC, I think this is going to be much closer than the West Semi. And I say that for a few reasons. One, the weather is not supposed to be good on Saturday. It's supposed to be rainy, cloudy, cold, and I think that benefits the Bombers in a big way. They run the ball a lot better than the Alouettes do. We'll see who's starting at running back here for the Owls. Sean Thomas, Arlington, Travis Tice might be available. Stevie Scott Jr. a little nicked up. Personally, I don't think it matters all that much. I mean, Brady Oliveira is the best running back on either of these two teams, and the Bombers' offensive line, I do think, was better, especially in the run game come the end of the year. That being said, I'm worried about Winnipeg's ability to protect the football. Winnipeg finished second last in the CFL. In giveaways, they finished first in interceptions thrown. Zach Collaros threw a number of those picks. I like Winnipeg's chances if Zach keeps things clean. In other words, no turnovers by Zach. That being said, I also think something that the Bombers did really well this season with Trey Vavel, who's now officially the league's or the West Division nominee for most outstanding rookie and most outstanding special teams player, is he provided this team with instant field position. The downside for Winnipeg is that the Alouettes have the best cover units in the league, led by Tyrell Richards. Now, as you mentioned, JC, Tyrell Richards not a participant in practice this week. That might open things up a little bit for the Bombers on specials. But when it comes to the Alouettes, we all know that Davis Alexander, undefeated as a starter. Should be noted, Winnipeg had the number one offense in terms of points allowed this season, offensively. They also finished first in opponent quarterback completion percentage. Jordan Younger loves to drop 9, force those tight windows, make quarterbacks wait by time for things to come open. So I think this is going to be a really close game. I am going to pick the Montreal Alouettes to win. And the reason I pick them is I think the Bombers are going to have at least one giveaway. But I am going to pick the Blue Bombers to cover this spread. To me, this is a field goal type of game. I think that, again, there are things working Winnipeg's advantage. The injuries you highlighted, I think, along the defensive line could open things up for the Bombers. The Alouettes, by the way, added a run-stuffing defensive tackle this week with no previous CFL experience. That's a concern for me because to me that says that these injuries to Ugawak and to Mustafa Johnson are serious. And obviously going into the playoffs, you do not want to be starting guys or playing guys with no previous CFL experience. But I just think the Alouettes defense is very tough. They're great. right? We all know this. I think that the Bombers are going to commit at least one giveaway. If they don't give out the ball, I think they can get the upset. I really do. But I don't see that happening. Give me the Montreal Alouettes to win a tight one in the East Division.
You and I are of one mind here, Hodge, because I see this game very, very similarly. You mentioned the injuries to the Alouettes defense, and that is a concern. But it's less concerning for me with the Alouettes and with these specific injuries than it is for other teams. Mustafa Johnson going down, yeah, that hurts. This is a guy who I think, when healthy, is one of the premier defensive tackles in the CFL. But they played most of the season without him, and they didn't have a problem stuffing the run than with the other personnel they've got in the building. Lual Ugwek, I think they've got replacements for him as well. They're not going to be hurt in that rotation with the absence of Lual Ugwek. You can bring Sean Lemon back on the roster, who hasn't played in a number of weeks. You can give Josh Archibald more reps if you so choose. I think they have enough depth up front that that's not going to drastically change the outcome of the football game. And ultimately, all it is going to take in this football game is one shot from Davis Alexander. I don't think it's going to come early, but against this Jordan Younger defense, once he figures them out, if he can get one big play, if he can get out in front and get the Bombers to change their game plan away from grinding it out with Brady Oliveira and get Zach Collaros throwing the ball. That has not been a formula for success of late. It has not been a formula for success in the last couple of postseasons. He has not been good at the quarterback position, and he has been interception prone. I think somebody like a Cabianento, like a Marc-Antoine Dequoy, is primed to get an interception or two in this game off of Zach Collaros, and that will end up being the difference. They just need to get that one game-breaking play offensively, and I think with their weapons and with a quarterback that they truly believe in, Montreal will be able to get past Younger at least one time in that nature. Give me the Alouettes to win and the Bombers to cover.
The Calgary Stampeders are set to visit the BC Lions in the West semifinal on Saturday late afternoon, where the home side is favored by 5 points. The Lions won both regular season meetings between these two teams in one-sided fashion as Nathan Rourke outdueled former teammate Vernon Adams Jr., who will return to Vancouver in this one, donning red and white. Dedrick Mills won the CFL's rushing title for Calgary, though one could argue that BC is better at every other position head-to-head. The Stampeders have some health concerns along the offensive line with Joshua Coker, Thomas Jack Kurtula, and Preston Nichols having been unable to practice this week, while BC has been without running back James Butler. Can the Stampeders get the upset out west, or will the Lions get the win and cover the spread?
I'm all on the Lions in this game. I think they win this game, and I think they win it by a significant enough margin to cover this spread. Vernon Adams Jr., I think, has looked better the last number of weeks. I'm sure he's going to be fired up for this game, but he has struggled when he has played BC this year. And frankly, the Stampeders as a whole have struggled against BC. I think the Lions are better up front on the offensive line than they have been in past matchups against Calgary. I think they'll be effectively able to shut down that strong Stampeders defensive line. And I think their own pass rush is going to be a difference in this game. It's shaky at the tackle position right now for the Stampeders. They've had one of the best offensive lines all year, but if Josh Coker or Preston Nichols can't go, I'm not sure what they do at one of those tackle spots. And you've got the CFL sack leader in Matthew Betts coming off of one edge, and then a pair of youngsters who have made a huge, huge impact straight off the street in Bradley Ane and Levi Bell on the other side. I think there's going to be some significant pressure on VA in this game. I think sometimes when he's under pressure, he gets caught pressing a little bit too much. That has happened in playoff games for him in the past, and I think he's going to make a mistake here at some point. He's not going to be able to keep up in the foot race with Nathan Rourke, who leads what I would say is by far the most explosive offense in the CFL right now. I think that's going to be the difference. He'll be looking up at the sky or at the dome from the BC Place turf while Rourke emerges victorious.
JC, I think our picks are at their most compelling when we disagree. And unfortunately, I'm in 100% agreement with you here. I don't think this game is going to be a blowout, but I also don't think it's going to be particularly close. I really don't. I think this is a 37-19 type of game, 37-22 type of game. I think that the BC Lions are going to be able to move the ball against this Calgary Stampeders defense, a unit that was impenetrable for the first third to first half of the season. Both the injury to Falarner Malade became very much penetrable in the second half of the season. I think that the BC Lions, I mean, there is a path to victory here for the Stampeders. What they need to do is intercept Nathan Rourke, I think at least 3 times. That's my magic number for this game. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Nathan Rourke has been as aggressive as any quarterback we've seen, honestly, since Nathan Rourke had his last season in 2022, last full CFL season in 2022. And throwing the ball deep, testing those tight windows. He's made a lot of hay doing that. He's had a lot of success, but he has also thrown a number of interceptions that way, right? It just comes with when you're pushing the ball down the field more aggressively than anybody else, you're going to have some of those turnovers. And so I do think there's a path. There are some ball hawks here in that Calgary secondary. Adrian Green, probably the best among them, at least this season, but there's a whole bunch of them. Sheldon Arnold looks like he's going to get healthy for this one. He's been great as a young player on the back end for the Stampeders, missed the last chunk of the season. But I just think for the reasons you laid out on the offensive line, JC, the Stamps are going to have a tough time getting much going in Vancouver. I really do. I mean, Dave Dickinson, when speaking to the media earlier this week, said it's going to be game time decision for a lot of these guys. I don't think that Joshua Coker is a world beater. I don't think that Preston Nichols is a world beater, but they're both solid tackles. Solid tackles are hard to come by. And those are the 2 guys who held it down at right tackle all year. If they both can't go, I don't know what this team does. Like, they could be in a really bad situation having to play a guard potentially out of position. So we don't yet know exactly how this team will go. We probably won't know until about an hour before kickoff. But this is not the time of year where you want to be making adjustments along your offensive line. And I appreciate it's not the team's fault. This is all injury related stuff. But for a team that's not going to have a huge margin of error, this is not the type of stuff you want to be dealing with. So I think Nathan Rourke is going to have a nice productive day on offense, putting up a ton of points. The Lions have put up at least 33 points, and I think it's 9 of their last 11 games, which is wild. And I think the Calgary Stampeders are going to have a tough time. And obviously, if VA is under pressure, I think he's going to throw some picks, right? I mean, the BC Lions have done a better job of anybody pressuring the quarterback the second half of the season with the additions that you laid out there, JC. So I am all on the Stamps here. I think they covered this spread. And frankly, I'm surprised this spread isn't wider. I thought this would be about a touchdown by the time we got to the game. As of right now, it's 5 points. It opened at 4.5, so it has opened a little, but not a lot. And frankly, I would be happy to take the BC Lions up to probably -9, -10. And even then, I think they cover it. I'm not trying to disrespect the Stampeders. They've had a great season. They're certainly a lot better than I thought they would be coming into the year. But it feels like their run is going to come to an end here. And that's the reason why I'm picking the BC Lions. For JC Abbott, I'm John Hodge. We thank you as always for checking out our picks. Don't forget to subscribe to the 3 Down Nation newsletter, all the latest news, insight, and analysis in your email inbox every single day. You can sign up 100% for free on our website, and you can unsubscribe at any time. We thank you for listening, watching, checking us out. Don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe everything. Recommend it to your friends. We'll see you on either Sunday or Monday when we're joined by Justin to break down the East and West semis and, of course, preview the all-important East and West finals. We'll see you then.